Hello all, I'm Colette here today from Witchways, and I want to share with you this week about the full moon magic of the summer months of June, July, and August. I'm going to give a general overview of the summer's magic, and then I'm going to go over spells and practices for each of the 3 months. And if you'd like me to do this for each of the 4 seasons, just say yes in the comments below. I hope you enjoy. You can do full moon magic the night of the full moon, the night before it, and the night after. The power is still there. The weather is often better in the summer, so the full moon is usually visible. And humans are just wired in such a way that it's easiest for us to call on the powers of something when we can see it in front of us. A lot of this magic is based on my personal experience as a witch. Some of this is based on what is happening in nature during each full moon, and some of it is based on the traditional names of the Celtic, Anglo-Saxon, and other Western European names for the full moon of the month. And some of it is based on what I learned from other witches. In general, all summer full moons are good for several different magical practices like love magic, sex magic, abundance magic, fertility magic, including land magic, and any projects that you might have already going that you want to expand, grow, and get a little bigger. You can give them a boost on any summer full moon. And full moon magic is often associated with deities that are mature or in their middle part of their life, as opposed to, say, younger deities or elderly deities. Let's jump into the specific months. The magical powers of June's full moon are expansion, sovereignty, balancing dualities, choice-making, commitments, and abundance. To call the full moon of June into your magic, try and find out what your ancestors called that month, or maybe they had a name for that moon. Call the name that best fits the magic you're doing, or you can just call in several of the names that I'm going to share from my ancestral lineage. You can also just call in Spirit of June's full moon. In Western European and Celtic and Nordic tradition, these are some of the names for June's full moon: Mead moon, horse moon, honey moon, rose moon, flower moon, and planting moon. I like to harvest or buy some mugwort for June's full moon and do a reading for myself about how I need to steer myself or my projects over the rest of the year or over the summer months. To do this, just take some mugwort, rub it in your hands or burn it, and then pull 3 cards. The first card is about the resources that you have developed since winter solstice. The second card is sort of a general assessment of where you are right now in your life or your projects. And the third card is usually about what you need to steer towards or embody in order for things to be successful over the months of summer or the coming year. I see this sort of as an energy that I want to remind myself of. I'll often place these 3 cards somewhere where I can see them until the next new moon. I think love magic can be very tricky, but if you're not trying to actually attract a specific person and you just want to draw some more love in whatever form into your life, you can make some love glamour water on June's full moon. To do this, place a clear glass bowl outside under the full moon at any time of the night. Float organic rose petals or strawberries or both in the water, and then call the power of the full moon down either by speaking or chanting some of June's full moon's names, or by just calling on the power of the full moon, however that works for you. Set the bowl outside somewhere where animals can't get it, or just sit with it and hold the intention of drawing love to you in whatever form you desire it in your mind, or try and feel it in your body. After an hour or 2, you can take the full moon water inside, pour it over yourself after a shower, drink it, anoint magical tools, or else put it in bath water. For a simple June prosperity spell, Write what you need on a piece of spell paper. Add an intention like, may this come to me above and beyond expenses, something like that as a caveat. And then at sunset, call in the full moon. You can either do that by simply watching it rise or visualizing it rising. Then burn a small birthday candle while you create the rest of the spell. Just take some basil and some mint and fold it up in your intention paper, and then place that piece of paper with the herbs in your wallet or somewhere like with your checkbooks where you keep your money, and then let the candle burn all the way out. June's full moon is a great time to do any kind of honoring or recognition work for yourself or a friend. And I shared last week a sovereignty spell as part of my Summer Solstice video. That might be one way you could approach this. Weddings and hand fastings are also done in June, and I traditionally like to do this on the full moon. It's also a really good time to replace or put up bundles of protection made up of blue vervain and St. John's wort, just tying them up and placing them in your doorways. Abundance magic or prosperity magic is good to do in any of the summer months, but June's full moon is especially good because you have the peak of summer sun combined with the peak expansion of the full moon. Some Western European names associated with July's full moon are the claiming moon, the herb moon, the mead moon, and hay moon. July's moon magic is all about gathering in resources, magically tending to home, and working with the land. July is the month in the Northern Hemisphere when things really start to dry out. So often my rituals and practices during that month are all about honoring water. One of the things that I do on July's full moon is to take some water from the tap, put it in a bottle, and then pour it outside near local water sources to honor them. Or I do that just in my yard, visualizing them if I can't actually visit them. I will also discreetly pour out a little water as I'm starting a hike or a walk at this time of year. And I've even made an altar in a green mossy area, set a glass of water on it at sunset as the moon is rising, and then pour the water out in the morning, asking the green power of the land to be revitalized and refreshed. I also like calling on the power of July's full moon to create a little extra boost in protection for my house. You can start this piece of magic any way you normally start magic for ritual or a spell, and then light a small birthday candle. And while the birthday candle is burning, just go around to each of the four walls of the house, touch them, touch each of the four corners, and ask the full moon to bring its full moon power of protection into the walls of your home. You might also want to go around and touch or hold any protection charms that you have up in the doorways and ask the moon to recharge them and renew them. Starwater calls in the power of our oldest ancestors, which are stars. It also calls in the power of overworld deities and the powers of the overworld itself. To do this on the night after the full moon, which is still really powerful, place a clear glass bowl outside at dusk so that you can catch a little bit of star energy before the moon rises up in the sky. Then when that moon rises, you bring that glass bowl in. You don't have to be exact. If it's out under the moon for a little while, that's fine. Then if you want to preserve it, instead of using it all up right away, you can add about 25% of rubbing alcohol. And I would use this star water in a lot of different ways, but one of the main ways I would do it is anoint your tools to call in those powers of the overworld, deity, or our oldest ancestors, the stars. It's also particularly good for tools that have pentacles on them or any jewelry that you own that it has pentacles on it or star shapes. I like to do some magical herb harvesting on the day of July's full moon, even if it's just walking around town and collecting some fallen leaves or petals on my walks. I also like to watch the reflection of July's full moon in a bowl of water and see what kind of visions it brings me. It's also really good to do that before you sleep to help bring you dreams. And I also think that July's full moon is a great time to start work with land spirits. The Western European names associated with August full moon are grain moon and lightning moon. The energy of this moon is all about allowing you to appreciate and reap the benefits of the work that you've done so far in this year's cycle. It's also about making offerings to any beings that helped you in this process, and it's also the very beginning of harvest season. I like to do some divination on the August full moon for what's going to happen in the fall. And so again, I'll take and burn or rub some mugwort between my hands and pull 3 cards. And the first card is about what have I received or been given that I am grateful for and can use as a resource. The second card is about what stands against me or blocks me from achieving what I need. And the third card is what do I need to embody or hold as an intention in order to move forward in the rest of the year. I'll often follow up this reading with some magic to banish what is blocking me once the moon has started to wane. To do this, just take some time to journal about what is blocking you, what you think it means, what you think it's about. Then you can burn that piece of paper with some herbs like blue vervain, rosemary, St. John's wort, any banishing or clearing herb, and then maybe write on a separate piece of paper what you learned from working with that obstacle. August full moon is also a really good time to do some protection magic about projects or goals in your life that have been going on for a while and you're sort of midstream with them. And the goal is to bring these projects to a successful conclusion, and this spell just puts a little magic around that project so that it can happen more easily. This project can be about personal work, a job, financial work, or anything in your life that you want to safeguard that is in process. Make an altar with antlers from a stag or with bones from a cow. Antlers are definitely more protective, but in European magic, cattle represented wealth and abundance, so they're really good to use, and they're also pretty fierce if they're cornered. Place a stone in each of the cardinal points and then put a circle of bay leaves all around the outside edge. Write what you want to be protected and successful on a piece of paper and place that in the center. Then light 4 birthday candles or 4 tea lights and place them around the outside edge or on top of the rocks and let them burn all the way out. This is a month I make blackberry cordial, and to do that I just take a bunch of ripe blackberries, put them in vodka or brandy along with a little bit of honey, and ask the bees to activate the magic in it. And I do that at new moon and let it sit until full moon and then strain it out. I often will add a little bit of cinnamon to represent the fiery power of summer's sun, or a little bit of lavender because in general that's a really nice summer herb and a little magical and protective. I also do a lot of offerings in my garden at this time of year, as I mentioned, and also I give offerings to the land in appreciation for the food that it provides me. I sometimes do rituals this full moon related to wishes for food security and abundance for all. If you'd like me to do the magic of the full moons for each of the 4 seasons, just put a yes in the comments down below. And I am running a Patreon promo for the next couple months, And in it, I offer extra benefits than the usual benefits to new members and my older members as a thank you. And I want to thank each of you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing to my channel. So until I see you next time, stay safe and be well.